How about now? Are we
Yep,
good?
you're good. You're good to go.
Okay, good. All right, so I just want to minimize this little side window right here and we can get started. So, of course, the Residential Park DC program, it's a fairly new system. We've been working with this program for approximately 2 years. I think it rolled out in 2021, and it is replacing the former visitor parking program. This is a digital program and it's a better program. Let me do my next slide. Let me see. Okay. Say. All right. So as you can see, I'm sorry, I just skipped a slide. I had to move something out of the way. Let me go back. All right. So as you can see, like I was previously saying, this is no longer an option. We no longer mail out the hard copy visitor passes, but we do have a new online system that will allow visitors to schedule their guests in all 8 wards. And this is a real time program. It will allow you to print your passes and schedule vehicles from your home. Let me see my next slide. Okay, so this, you still have an annual visitor parking permit, and then you have some extra hours. We call it a 90-day bank, but it's really your 90 days is equivalent to 2,160 permit hours. And so this is an example of how you would use this program. So I know most of you are ladies or gentlemen of leisure. So you want to have a party in the middle of the day and you live on an RPP block. So you're going to have a party for a very close friend. So you have your very close friend. It's a surprise party. She's going to bring 6 other people with her. Or I'm going to say 4. Let's keep it simple. So you have your 1 annual visitor parking permit will go to the annual, you would schedule that vehicle. And Ruth Claros, she's going to show you how to use this program. You're going to schedule your guest for your annual pass will go to the first person you schedule your guest for. Then there's 2,160 permit hours. These are for extra guests. So you have 4 more people joining your party. And so you would schedule a permit for each one of your guests. You have guest number 1, guest number 2, guest number 3, and guest number 4. So if you have 4 people staying at your home for 4 hours, can somebody put in the chat for me how many hours would you use of this 2,160 permitted hours? Okay, I think, well, it would be approximately 16 hours. 4 hours times 4 guests is 16 hours. And so you would take that 2,160 hours and subtract the 16 hours, and then you have some hours left. But this is something that new. This will prevent you from going down to the police station, asking for additional parking permits if you have more than 1 visitor coming to your house, staying for more than 2 hours. And this program also allows you to schedule a home health aide and a contractor. So as we move along, let me see if I can get this right. And this is, okay. So here is your contractor pass. Now, you don't actually have to use a permit pass for your contractor. You can use your annual visitor pass, or you can use your 2,160 hours. But if you just happen to have a contractor and you don't want to eat up your hours, you can choose to use a schedule a permit for, maybe someone's coming to your house, like a small contractor, to do some electrical work or printing or, drywall or fencing or even fix a window replacement, something really small where a reserved parking space is not needed. Because remember, your visitor parking permit, it is based on your ANC. So it doesn't guarantee that someone's going to be able to park in front of your home, but they will be able to park blocks that are closely associated with your home. And these permits are $10 a day. And last but not least, we have the home health care provider permit. And I'm going to stop sharing, and Mona Davis will present the home health care provider pass. And she's going to talk to you about that briefly. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Mona take over, and she'll tell you a little about herself as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mona. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I am Mona Davis. I work in the customer service clearinghouse with Miss Michelle Sims. I am a communications specialist. For some odd reason, my video is not working. So I cannot see you guys. Well, I can see you guys, but you can't see me. I don't know what the technical issue is, but we're just going to move on. So again, I'm Mona. I hope everybody's doing well. And I'm going to go over the home health aid part of the presentation. So first of all, I want to say that a home health aid isn't just an aid, they're also a friend. Next slide. So we're going to speak about how to qualify for a home health aid permit. To sign up for a home health aid account, you must have a DC home health aid license from the Department of Health. And more information can be found at DC Health Aid, Home Health Aid, and then access at Park DC permits to sign up and request the permit. Next slide. So how do you request a home health aid permit? So both the resident and home health aid can request home health aid permits through our Park DC Permits website. DDOT requires one of the below documents for home health aid permits. So this is a contract between the resident and the person providing the care, meaning that the resident or either the home health aid can write a letter stating the times and the dates that the aid will be there, the client's name, and of course the aid's name. You can attach a picture of the aid's badge or whatever it is and upload that also to the account, and then we will review it and then it'll be approved. Next slide. So how long does the home health aid permit last? The home health aid permit is valid up to 6 months after issuance. After 6 months, the permit can be renewed. Home health aides can request a HHA permit with the client's unique HHA code. And this will be when you go on the website, once you go to request it, it'll show you the code, and this is something that you'll be able to give to the home health aide, and then they can put it in and request to park. I'm sorry, I seen that there was a hand raised, so we'll answer all questions after the presentation. So next, can I have more than one home health aid permit? So yes, residents can have multiple permits because we do understand that residents do usually tend to have more than one home health aid at a time. Next slide. And last but not least, does my health aid permit work for the entire district? So unfortunately, no, the permit is only valid in the A and C, which is the zone that is displayed on your permit. So this is the valid permit that you, like if you're zone 3, so then your home health aid can only require to park in that zone. Okay. And thank you for letting me share my portion of the presentation about the home health aid permit. Like I stated, we will answer all questions after the presentations. Now I'm going to share my screen or pass it on to my colleague. Her name is Ruth Claros. She's going to go over signing up for the visitor parking permit. Thank you for letting me share, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Davis. We appreciate that.
Mona. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruth Claros, and I work directly with Ms. Sims and Mona in the customer service clearinghouse. I've been with the district for 23 years.
Wow.
Let me see if I can turn on my camera.
Okay.
Can everyone see me?
Yeah, I've been spotlighting the folks that have been speaking. So
Okay, do not spotlight me. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen.
Mona may have to unshare her screen. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
it asks if you want to stop sharing the other person, so it's really convenient.
Okay. So in order to, everyone can see my screen? Okay. I'm going to be showing you how to sign up for an account in our Park DC permits website. So our system is also available on the phone, iPad. It's a mobile app. So
are you able to go to the app directly? I think it's a lot easier. Are they able to do the process through the app versus going to Safari?
They can download the app, yes. I'm on my laptop.
Okay, that's no problem. I'll find that and I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, to sign up for an account, Park DC permit, our website is ddot.myparkinginfo.com. Let me just move you guys. Okay. This is our website. You can tell that you're on the Park DC permits by looking at the header, Park DC permits. And like Ms. Sims says, we also have public space permits, which is called TOPS. And this is how the page looks. So it's way different. So for our visitors parking permits, we want you to be on this website, the one that says Park DC permits. So that website again is ddot.myparkinginfo.com. Okay. See if I can drag this to the side. Okay, on the main page, we have how-to guides, information on how to reach us, information to see if your block is part of the RPP program, or if you want to be part of the RPP program, you can use this link right here. We also got guides from the Department of Motor Vehicles on how to, exchange your information if you are new to the District of Columbia, how to renew your driver's license. Our system requires you to have a DC ID or a DC driver's license or reciprocity. Okay, this is the login section. If you have an account, you can log in. If you don't have an account, you can sign up. So we are going to sign up. And these are the different type of accounts that we have. If you hover over to each section, it'll display a brief description on the side, what that section is about. Guest only is if you're visiting a friend and you don't live on the RPP block and you don't have an account as a resident. As a resident, it allows you to visit other residents that live on the RPP block and allows you to schedule your visitors. So we are going to be creating a resident account. I'm going to check resident, click on next. Here is asking you for your information, such your first name, last name, a username, email, mobile phone number is required, and password. Please make sure that you write this information down somewhere safe. And when you're entering this information, you want to make sure that this information reflects what's on your ID or your driver's license or reciprocity registration. Otherwise, it won't validate with the Department of Motor Vehicles. So I'm going to create an account. Username. These are the requirements for a password. It has to have at least one lowercase letter, at least one capital letter, at least one number. One of these special characters, the ones that are in parentheses, are the only characters acceptable. And it must be at least 8 characters long. Okay, once you enter your password and they'll both match, you want to click on next. Again, please remember to write down your username and your password. Here is where you'll select your home address. If your home address does not appear under this section, it could be because it's not part of the RPP program, or if you know that for a fact you live on an RPP block, you have the green and white or the red and white signs on your block, you can give us a call and we'll investigate that, okay? If the address populates here, that means it is a valid RPP block. We're going to select that address. You live on a unit, you're going to specify the unit. You can select it from here, or you can type it here if you like, whatever is easier for you. So, unit 2. Once the address is in this section, you can click on next. Security question. We require a security question for security purposes. In case you have, let's say your home health aide is calling us on your behalf, and wants us to schedule their vehicle on your behalf, we will ask them the security question and other information about your account. And we also use this in case you forget your password and you are unable to reset your password. We'll ask you the security question. So you may also please write your security question and your answer. These are the different types of security questions that we have. So you can pick the easiest one for you to remember. So I'm going to pick my pet's name. Okay, resident identity. Here's where you will select the type of identification that you have. Is it a DC driver's license, a DC non-driver ID card, or vehicle reciprocity? Please remember that your documentation has to be valid. It cannot be expired. It cannot be about to expire within 30 days because the system will not accept that. So DC ID. And your date of birth. The system automatically transfer my name, my first name and last name from the registration page. So once you enter this information, you will click on verify. And what this is going to do is going to try to connect with the DMV database to make sure that your ID or driver's license is valid. It says unable to verify. So it's not verifying because my name in here does not match with my ID. I have a second last name, so I'm going to type in second last name. So if you have a hyphenated last name, please make sure that you hyphenate your last name. Verify, and it's verified. Once it's verified, you click on next. And this will create your account and it will bring you to the dashboard. I don't know if we have previous users here. The dashboard was what we started with. And this is where you will share your visitor code with your visitor, your home health aide, or your contractors. This is in case you want to visit a resident that lives on an RPP block. You can request to park and just enter their visitor code here. And this is your visitor parking pass. As you can see, this is your visitor code. This is the code that you give to your visitors. Here, you'll be able to see if you have any vehicles scheduled. Here, it tells you how many days out of those 90 days you have left on your visitor's parking pass. Once again, this is the dashboard. Once we started using the system and getting feedback, we came up with the homepage. My homepage is more for those residents who are visual learners. We split it up in sections, schedule a vehicle to park. It tells you what this section does. It says, I want to schedule a vehicle to park at my home. Share my permit with a visitor. I want to let a visitor use my permit. So when you click on schedule a vehicle, you'll see the visitor's parking pass here. Share my permit with a visitor. You'll see your visitor codes here. This is the visitor code that you will give to your visitors. This is the one that you will give to your contractor. And this is the one that you will give to your home health aide. Approve and deny requests. This is whenever you have a visitor request, you will go to approve and deny parking requests. Print my permit allows you to print your scheduled vehicles. Manage permit approval settings. This is where you can manage your, if you have visitors that they visit you daily or often, you can and they have an account, you can register them. You can add them to the section as an approved, trusted visitor, or you can have it so that they won't require you to approve their request. They can just request to park and they'll get that permit automatically, or review or request if you want to approve or deny requests. Okay, it all depends on your privacy. So let's go. Schedule a vehicle. Let's say you want a visitor to visit you tomorrow. You will come here to schedule a vehicle to park. The visitor parking pass will display here. Click on schedule vehicle. You don't have no vehicles registered here, so you want to click on new vehicle. In the new vehicle section only requires you to enter a nickname, license plate, state, make, and color. Enter the license plate. Okay, once you enter this information, you're going to click on save. The vehicle is automatically selected. If you have multiple vehicles, you can select the other vehicle if it displays here on multiple vehicles. Let's click continue. This automatically takes you to the single day permit section. The single day is only for if your visitor is only going to stay there for 1 day. You see how it only has one calendar. If your visitor is going to be staying for more than 1 day, you want to select the move today section. Move today. Then repeats. Repeats allows you to select if your visitor is going to be there daily, weekly, weekdays, weekends, or custom. Custom is if this person is only going to be coming to your house Wednesdays and Thursdays. So we're going to do Wednesdays and Thursdays. Then this person is going to be coming from 7 a.m. to 11:55 p.m. These are the standard times automatically selected by the system, but you can change them. If you know your visitor is not going to come until 9 a.m., you can go up or you can go down. Okay. So say 9 a.m. And if your RPP signs is only restricted until 8:30 p.m., you can do the down arrow and just go to 8:30 p.m. Or if you want to play it safe, you can leave it at 11:55 p.m. Please note that the visitor's parking pass only protects your visitor during the restricted hours, okay? So Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to select Wednesday tomorrow, and my visitor is going to be here until the 26th. I'm going to save. And here's your notification. It says, thank you. The visitor's vehicle is scheduled to park. Print and display the permit on your dashboard. Okay, so I'm going to go to the print my permit section. And the permit is right here. So this permit tells me that this is the tag number of the vehicle and the nickname. This is the section, the A and C, where this vehicle can park. This is the start time and the end time. When does it start? When does it end? And as you notice, even though I selected the 26th, since my option was for my visitor to only park there Wednesdays and Thursdays, the 25th is Thursday. So that's when it's going to end. Time requested 3 days and 70 hours, 30 minutes. This includes 0 minutes of your multi-vehicle. Once again, the 90-day multi-vehicle is only used when you schedule multiple vehicles. So we're going to do a test with that. We're going to schedule another vehicle. And this is going to be my nighttime. Let's see if we can. See, like I said, the vehicle, once you add the vehicle, it automatically selects it, but you can change it if you like. So, but I'm scheduling my weekend aid, so I will select my weekend, continue. I'm going to do multi-day, and I'm going to do daily. And I'm going to schedule this vehicle for the same time that I scheduled that other vehicle. Okay. Here's your confirmation. It tells you, again, the days that this visitor is going to be parking, the time, the dates. When I go to print my permit, I have both permits here. My daytime aid, my weekend aid. The difference between this pass right here is it's telling you that this vehicle is scheduled for 11 days, 23 hours and 35 minutes. This includes 3 days and 17 hours and 30 minutes of your multi-vehicle permit. This is how the 90 days are used when you have multiple vehicles parked there during the same time period. Okay. I know I'm going a little fast. Your home health aid. Let me go back here. See if I can do this. This is the code that you will give to your home health aid for them to request a part. You can also schedule the home health aid yourself. Let me see if I'm able to do this with this. And then I'll walk you through it. Yes. Okay. So let's go back here. So the home health aid code is here under share my permit with a visitor. You want to copy this code. You can give it to the home health aide again if you want if the home health aide is a licensed home health aide and they have an account in Park DC, they can request to park. That way, they'll be the ones to be able to print the permit. But you can also schedule the home health aide yourself. The only difference is that you will be the one to print that permit in, or you can download that permit and email it to your home health aide and they can print it out. Okay, so I'm going to click on visit a resident. And I'm going to put that code here, the home health aide code. Continue. And this is telling you that this is your address. This is where the home health aide is going to be parking at on this block. The start date is always today's date. The home health aide permit is valid for 6 months, so it always starts on the same day. Okay, so I was wrong. I'm not able to schedule the home health aide this way. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go back. So once again, the home health aide code, you can share it with your home health aide. If you want to schedule your home health aide, go to permits, create new permit. This is showing you again the address where this home health aide will be parking at. The start date is today. And here it is, home health aide permit. You want to click on add new. Continue. And you want to select which home health aide you are scheduling. I'm going to select my daytime home health aide. Continue. The home health aide permit requires you to upload a contract between you and the resident, not the resident, the home health aide, you and the home health aide. You both have to sign it. We'll select here, home health aide contract with resident, and you can, this tells you the requirements of the contract. I'll choose file, and I'm just gonna upload a random file here, just so you'll see the ending process. So the file is here. I'm going to click on upload. And the document was submitted and it will be reviewed. Mona is the one in charge of reviewing those contracts. I'll check out. And I'm going to go to my dashboard. My dashboard, I can see that the home health aide permit is under review, still pending, and it's under review. Once it's reviewed by Mona and approved, you'll be able to see a print button here. You'll be able to print a permit. And if you go to my home page, when you go to this section right here, print my permit, you will also see the home health aide permit here, and will be available for printing. Let me show you. Okay, so I approved that permit. Let me just refresh this page. Let's see if it'll populate and go out. I'm just gonna show you how it looks once the permit is approved for the home health aides. Move this out of the way. Print my permit. Where is that home health aide permit? It's right here. So if you go to my dashboard, you scroll down, permit is no longer pending, so you have the printing option. When you click on print, here's how the permit looks. Let me just move this out of the way. Has a permit number. It's a home health aide permit. This is the ANC where the home health aide can park. The license plate number must be displayed when it's valid from and to and the hours. You can save it as a PDF so you can email it to your home health aide, or you can print. You can print the permit. Okay. The permit has to be displayed on the visitor's dashboard. From my dashboard, you can also print your visitor's permits. Under your visitor parking pass, you have this printing option here. Click on print, and it shows you the different permits that you have that are active, and you can print. Once again, the dashboard is what we started with. So old users are more accustomed to using the dashboard. But my home page is for visual learners, much easier. You can print from here. Same thing. It has a permit number, and it's telling you which ANC this permit is valid at. Tag number, the date that it's valid from and to, and the hours. You can save it as a PDF or you can print. Okay, let me stop sharing. If I can figure it out. Stop. Okay, stop sharing. There we go. We can't hear you, Miss Sims.
I got you. I just saw I was on mute. Well, thank you, Ruthie and Mona. So now is our answer and question period. I'm quite sure you all have some question for us. And first, we just like to give an applause for Mona and Ruthie for doing such an excellent job. So I see Doris. I see your hand.
I'll be able to assist you with that, Miss Michelle. So,
okay, so yes, please.
Because
okay,
the order is a little just a little bit different, so I can see what's going on. So first up is Janelle and Bridget.
Okay.
Well, before we hear from Janelle, I see we did get a question in the chat about are you able to answer that individual first?
Let me just see the question. Let me go to my chat and see.
It was for those that are not tech savvy or don't feel comfortable, can we call in for assistance?
Okay, and Ruthie, could you just check the chat for me and see what Janelle or Bridget's question is?
Yes. Yeah, so
I didn't put it in the chat.
No, it's yeah.
There's a question in the chat.
I see it. It's from Rosemary. It says, for those that are not tech savvy, don't feel comfortable in applying online, can we call for a system? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that's why we ask you to select the security questions so that we'll know who we're speaking with, and we can register for an account. We can schedule your visitors. We can download that permit and email it to you if you don't feel comfortable with going to one of our kiosks to print. We can email it to you. You go to a library, print it from there, or if you have a printer at home, you can print it from your email.
Right.
But we always need to make sure who we are speaking with.
Exactly. And so, could you put that phone number or help number in the chat for the visitors as well, or for our guests?
Yes.
Thank you, Ruthie. Next question, please.
Yes. Thank you so much for your question, Miss Rosemary. Next up is Janelle, then Miss Doris, and then we'll answer the next question in the chat. So okay. Janelle and Bridget, you can unmute.
Okay, just let me unmute. Okay, hi, my name is Bridget. You answered my question about the print situation because my question, I have 3 questions actually, but the first question was, if you didn't have a printer, how can you print? And you just answered that question. Go to the kiosk, go to the library or somewhere else. Okay, now suppose you use up your parking hours for the year. What do you do then?
Okay, so you have your annual pass, which is good for 1 year, and it is an auto renewal. So that annual, at the end of, for example, if you were to register today for your Park DC permit, you're going to get your annual pass and you're going to get the 90-day bank, the 2,160 hours. Now, your annual pass will automatically renew in January of 2025, and you will get an email maybe 30 days in advance. But if you exhaust those 2,160 hours before the renewal date, there's nothing we can do about it. We just give you an extra 2,160 hours so you can schedule more than one guest at a time. And that's why we like to encourage you, if you have like a home health aide, you want to use that in lieu of using your bank or your extra hours to use that permit to, that one particular permit for your home health aide. And then even if you have contractors, you want to really try to manage those hours, especially if you're going to have more than one guest at a time.
Okay, so if you have more than one contractor, you have to pay for all their parking.
Well, like I said, you can opt out and use your annual visitor parking permit, and you can also use your extra hours if you don't want to pay a contractor. So it's really up to you. You have all these various options, but if you do use that 2,160 hours within a year, you're going to get another 2,160 hours at the renewal date. And that's your annual pass, or I think it's on your dashboard. It's called the single pass. I'm not sure, but that pass is good for 1 year, and you don't have to worry about it. It's unlimited.
That's bad news for me because I got a big contracting job coming up on my house.
You do? Now, let me ask you a question. Is this contracting job, are they going to need a designated parking space, or can they park
they're going to
anywhere?
need more than one designated because they got roofers, they got carpenters, they got electricians, a whole lot of people.
Okay, so you may want to go to the top. You want to use our transportation online permitting system, which is separate from the visitor parking program. And this will give you a reserved parking space for your contractors.
Okay, so that means that if we needed 10, we can reserve 10 parking spaces on the block.
Yes, you would reserve those parking spaces. You would get those. I'm quite sure you've seen the signs. You'll get the emergency no parking signs, and no one will be able to park in those spaces but your contractors. But there is also a cost associated with those permits.
Yes, I know. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
My last question is, suppose you overestimate your visitors' time. Say, for instance, you book their time for 4 hours, but they only stayed for half an hour. Can you be refunded the hours that they didn't use?
Yes, you can cancel that permit. And also be mindful, if you live on an RPP block, there's a 2-hour grace period. Your guests can park without having a pass as long as they don't stay past 2 hours. You don't have to be concerned about getting ticketed. It's just, and if you don't live on a block that says permit parking only. You have the red and white signs that says permit parking only, or you have the green and white signs, which allows people to come and visit you for 2 hours without having a permit.
Okay, that takes care of that. Thank you so much. I
You're
really
quite
appreciate
welcome.
your information. This is good
Thank
information.
you.
It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary, but because I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to have visitors again. They're not going to want to be bothered with this.
We like to accommodate, and it is going to be, first of all, it's kind of like, okay, let me get used to this new system. But once you get used to it, you will find out it's very simple to use because everything is under your control.
Yeah. Thank you so much, my dear.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Bridget. Really appreciate that. And just as a reminder, just because, we are all on our iPads, just in the chat, I had put the link to the Park DC Permits app, and it's very simple to navigate. You just create your account, and anything that I think Ms. Davis and Ms. Ruth went over can be found in some way, some capacity through the app, and probably even easier than having to go to the website. So again, I just put that link in the chat as well again, and that's how you get access straight to the Park DC Permits app. So just wanted to say that as well. Thank you, Bridget. Next up is Ms. Doris, and then we have one question in the chat, which I will read. Hi, Doris. How are you?
Okay. How you doing, Alex? And how you doing, Ms. Sims?
I'm doing very well, Doris. How are you?
Okay. I got 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one is, what if you have out-of-town guests?
Okay.
And they park after those hours? I know that Rosa comes through here because I know someone that got a ticket, and they had $100 ticket, and they had to go to motor vehicles, and they issued them. Once they took proof that they didn't live in DC, they took the ticket off, and they gave them a year where they could park. Then once that year expires, they got to go through the same thing all over again.
That is correct. You can have visitors who are out of town. But if they have out-of-state tags on their car and they're going to be in the city for more than 30 days, they may get a warning ticket at first. And after the initial 30 days, they may get a ticket that's it's a $100 ticket for having out-of-state tags parked on a public street for more than 30 or 60 days. But if you have proof that you are not a resident in the District of Columbia, you can apply for something called ROSA. ROSA is out-of-state registration for automobiles. And so therefore, you will not be ticketed for parking on that street because the visitor parking permit does not protect people who have out-of-state tags. It's for the RPP block, and it is implemented during visitor parking hours. But anything after that, especially during night when they do ROSA, that's when they check for automobiles parked on the DC street after hours. Whether you have a visitor parking permit or not, you can be ticketed.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome. And you said you had a second question?
Well, the other question was, when the person, you said certain hours that you put on the permit of someone's visiting from out of town. So that means after that time period, they have to park somewhere else?
No. So they don't have to move their car every 2 hours. When you have a visitor and they are from out of town, and we have a default, and that default time is from 7 a.m. to 11 or 12, close to 12, 11:55 p.m. That's your default. That covers all your hours. So that person would be safe, especially if they're going to be here for more than 1 day. Now, and if they were here for 1 day, for example, and you decided they're going to stay from 9 to 5 o'clock, but they end up staying until 7 o'clock, they may be subject to get a ticket, especially if your parking zone says that you're required to have a visitor parking permit up until like 8:30 p.m. So you do have to be mindful of those hours.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. The next question, please.
Thank you, Ms. Doris. Really appreciate that. So I see that Ms. Ruth is also answering questions in the chat. I really appreciate the responses. Mr. Harold said, is there a process for permanent home disability parking in front of my home?
Yes, there is. And it's an application process. And what we can do is, if we can just get your name, if you need a disability parking permit, there is, are you a single home? You live in a single home dwelling, or do you live in an apartment building? That makes a difference. This is only for single homes. And there is an application process, and it takes about 120 days, because what we have to do is we have to go through the application process. You need to get a doctor certification that you have a permanent disability. And then there are several things that are required. For example, you have to have your automobile. It has to be insured. You have to have a driver's license. This is for you. It's not for your daughter or your son or somebody that's coming over to visit you. We only reserve that parking space for the person that lives in that home, or your caretaker. If that's somebody who lives in that home and they're also taking care of you and you don't drive, we can accommodate you with a reserved disability parking space. So once we get your application and we go through the process, you don't have a driveway, you don't have off-street parking, you would be considered for the program. But it does take about 120 days, because once we take away a parking space from the street, we do have to notify the community, and that's maybe another 30-day process. The signs are custom made, and then they're installed. So this is why the process takes so long. So, but yes, you can qualify if you meet all of the requirements.
Oh, wow. Mr. Harold said single home.
Okay, yes, that is that. And so what I can do, if I can get his address, I can either mail or email the application to him.
Miss Michelle, I can definitely get his email address and send that over to you.
Okay, that's perfect.
So nothing on your end, Mr. Harold. I got you, okay? I'll be sure to put that in my notes.
Thank you.
And again, thank you so much for Miss Ruth for answering some questions. I was about to say, Miss Yvonne asked, what about car rentals? Miss Ruth said, you can schedule rentals with the visitor pass. DMV also provides RPP stickers for rentals. I'll put the link in here so that way you don't have to use your pass. And if the rental has out of state tags, they will be covered for Rosa. And Miss Ruth put the link in the chat.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, Miss Ruth, for your answering those questions. We have Anne next for questions.
Hello, Anne. How are you?
I'm recovering, so I'm sorry for my crunchy voice. Very interesting, and thank you for the information. I'd like to ask you a question about people who are coming in town for a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And some will be staying at your house or at a neighbor's.
Okay. And you do live on an RPP block?
I don't live on an RPP block, but I just want to know about out of state things, because I know we've got a lot. I live in River Terrace. We got a lot of strange stuff going on over here. So
okay,
we're trying to the Civic Association is keeping on point.
Okay. So even if you do have visitors and they do have out-of-state tags, as long as they're not staying for no longer than 30 days, there's no need to be concerned. They can park on the non-RPP block. But if they're parking on an RPP block, you need to know someone on that block, and they can probably issue a pass for them. So like I said, there's no problem if it's non-RPP, but they can only park on a non-RPP block, and it's not an issue as long as they're not there for longer than 30 days.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
You. Yeah, because you know, well, we had that at one time in River Terrace when they were parking for the subway and stuff.
Okay.
And it did not work out very well, and it got to be contentious.
I
agree.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah, and I know your neighbors probably aware of the fact that there is, you have maybe out-of-state guests because of a funeral. Sometimes people are very understanding in
Yeah,
that type
in
of
fact, a
situation.
couple of them have even volunteered uh, their to park on the street and let them park in their driveway. They're
Oh, that's
parking.
very kind.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of. I've been here 74 years since I was 4. So
That's very kind. And condolences to you and your family.
thank you. It was. This has not been a good year, so just wish me good luck on that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
It was
quite
very
welcome.
informative, and I will pass this on to my cousin who lives over by Capitol Hill, and she has one of my aides works for her. So
Okay, so she should have she probably qualifies if she lives on Capitol Hill for
mhm.
both the RPP program and your home health aid.
I will definitely pass this information on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And thank you so much. You were excellent, and your other people who were with you were excellent. Thank you very much for this because it's important that all of us know about all this information.
Absolutely. Thank you. We
Mhm.
appreciate you inviting us, and we're happy to come back at any time.
Well,
Thank you so much, Anne.
I enjoy learning stuff. Thank you, Alex, for letting me talk.
No problem, Anne. You have a good day.
Thank you.
And I think that's really important too. I don't have a vehicle, and I don't have many friends with vehicles, but knowing this information, you may never know who you might help out.
Absolutely.
And literally just tell them, hey, go download the Permits DC app or Park DC Permits app, and that way you can have access to it. So now, it may not just be for you all, but your family, your close friends, and I think that's a really great aspect of our sessions.
That is correct, Alex. And you don't have to have a vehicle to qualify for the program. The qualification is living on an RPP block.
And I'm just more aware of the signs and kind of how that works as
Absolutely.
well.
Okay.
So,
I
the
see.
background information is important because that's where we live on a daily basis. So it's really
Absolutely.
important to know these things in case we do have these different situations that come up.
That's great.
Thank you so much for coming on to today, Miss Michelle, Miss Davis, and Miss Ruth. We really appreciate all of your hard work, and I know our seniors do. Do you have any closing remarks before we end for today, Miss Michelle?
Well, go ahead. Any Ruthie or Mona, did you guys have any remarks? Please feel free.
Thank you guys for having us. I hope that the information was valuable. And like Ms. Sims said, we're always willing to come back and assist you guys as much as we can. Thank you.
How about you, Ruthie?
Yes, thank you. And I put the disability permit application, the link for it in the chat.
Oh, thank you, Ruthie. So yeah, so we don't have to. You can always go in. It's a fillable, and we'll get it, and we'll start the process right away as soon as we get the information from the resident. And I would like to say thank you for inviting us. It was our pleasure, and we'll be more than happy to come back and visit. Also, if you have any issues, please feel free to give us a call. We did put the help number in the chat, and any of our representatives that answer your phone, they'll be able to assist you. All right.
The 671 number, right?
That is correct.
Great. Just for everyone to be aware, please make sure you check out the chat if you want any of this information, because after the Zoom ends, you're not able to access the Zoom chat. So.
Right, but you can always give us a call and we make a request. We're available between the hours of 8:15 and 4:45, 5 days a week.